talk about the colorizations of old episodes. We are, of course, getting the Daleks, a cut-down version, movie-length version of the Daleks in color. I'm curious about it. I am curious to watch it. My biggest complaint about the Daleks has always been that it's just way too long. And the fact they can chop 100 minutes out of it and make it work tells me I have always been right on that. And I'm curious to see how good the colorization is, to see how well it holds up with advances made since the last time they were really recoloring stuff like Mind of Evil. I don't know if I need to buy it. I know they offered it on Steelbook and Blu-ray and DVD. I don't know if I need to buy it. I need to see that Steelbook art before I decide if I need to buy it or not. I don't know if I want to fall down that rabbit hole, because if I get in, I'm going to want to get all of them they do colorized like that, and that's just a rabbit hole I don't know if I want to go down into. But I was wondering maybe some other stories that might be good for colorization. Now, immediately, I think a lot of people's minds will jump to the Dalek invasion of Earth. And that's an understandable conclusion, because we've already had a shorter version of the Daleks, called, being the Peter Cushing movie. We also had a shorter version of the Dalek Invasion of Earth being the second Peter Cushing movie. So I'm sure there's stuff they could trim out of Dalek Invasion of Earth to make it work. Personally, I like Dalek Invasion of Earth the way it is. I don't feel like it drags in 6 parts. And I think it being in black and white is very iconic for that story. Just something about it being in black and white works for me. Who knows, if I saw it in color, I might go, you know what, that works for me too. I do love the color version of the movie. I like the Peter Cushing movie a lot, although I think I prefer the TV version of it more. Unlike the original Daleks, where I preferred the Cushing movie over the original story. I think the chase would be a good one. I would actually really enjoy the chase being cut down, because there's so much you can cut out of the chase. The whole Mary Celeste stuff you can chop out. All of episode 4, for the most part, you can chop out. Just maybe have the end of Vicky getting on the ship, but most of that stuff with Dracula and Frankenstein, you can cut a lot of that out. Some of episode 5 you can cut out. I think there's a fair amount, like the bit with Peter Purvis on the Empire State Building, you could cut out, but I hope they don't, because I absolutely love that scene. There's a lot you can cut out of the chase and make the chase work, tighten it up a bit, because the chase has a really good beginning, a really good ending, and then there's a lot of nonsense in the middle. So there's a lot of stuff you can chop out and actually turn the chase into a nice watchable story, I feel. I would like that. I mean, there's others you could do it too. I mean, you could probably trim some stuff out of the arc and make that work if you wanted. Personally, I'm fine with the arc being the way it is. The War Machines, I think you could possibly trim some stuff. I've only seen the War Machines once, but you could do some trimming there. It is a phenomenally good story, and colorize it and make it work a little better maybe. I think the Aztecs is an interesting choice. I don't think it would need a lot of trimming, but I think you could trim some stuff off the Aztecs. I think the Aztecs would look really good in color. That is one I actually would like to see in color. I think that would look really, really good. Moving on to Troughton, though, because I want them to do some Troughton. And Troughton's a little easier to narrow down because he only has so many complete stories. Because of his 21 stories, only 7 are complete. So there's a lot less they have to work with Troughton. Of course, I think a lot of people's minds are immediately going to go to the War Games, because the War Games is 10 episodes long. And of course, there's some stuff you can trim out there with them getting caught, and escaping, caught, escaping, recaptured, escaping. Personally, I wouldn't want them to do that to the War Games, just because I love the War Games. I love the War Games so much. It's one of my favorite Troughton stories. It's one of my favorite 60s stories. I enjoy all 10 episodes. I can binge right through it. And I like it in black and white. Something about it being in black and white just adds to the surrealness of what's going on. I really like the War Games the way it is, but I can understand the logic of them going with the War Games to trim it down. Although I don't know how much of it you could trim out. And seeing it in color, especially like the final episode in color, probably would be pretty neat. But there's others I would rather get than the War Games. Like for me, I'd go to the Seeds of Death. The Seeds of Death is a 6-parter. It drags a little. It doesn't drag like the Ice Warriors drags, to be fair, but it still drags a little for me. I feel like there's some trimming out you can do right there. I think it would be neat to see the Ice Warriors fighting, you know, the second Doctor in color. And not only that, the Ice Warriors are a staple of the show. They're a common foe like the Daleks, if not as common as the Daleks. And they've been in the modern series a couple times, being in Cold War and Empress of Mars, which are my two favorite Ice Warrior episodes, actually. So, modern Who fans, which these edits and colorizations are made for, they've said basically, to try to ease modern Who fans into classic Who. They would already have a familiarity with the villains since they've seen them in modern Who and Cold War and Empress of Mars, so they would know who the Ice Warriors are, and they'd get to see them in wonderful color. So that would be the Troughton story I would pick. I mean, I think Web of Fear would make a good one, but missing episode 3 hurts it because that episode's too vital. I don't feel like you can just cut out that full episode and make it work. If episode 3 existed, Web of Fear would be a great choice. I think the Dominators and the Protons could work, but I don't think they would be chosen because they're not popular stories. There's definitely some stuff in the Dominators, being 5 episodes, you could trim out. And I think it would look really good in color, especially at the end with the lava swarming. I really think the Dominators would look really good in color. I just don't think they would do it because it's not a popular episode, which to be fair, it's not a great episode. Same thing with the Protons, except for I actually do enjoy the Protons, but I just don't think it's popular enough to be a draw for people. The Mind Robber doesn't need it. The Mind Robber needs to be in black and white. Again, the surreal nature, the fantasy nature of the story lends itself to black and white, especially that first episode. It just would not work as well in color for me. It needs to be just left alone in black and white, so I wouldn't do the Mind Robber. I think Tomb of the Cybermen would be a good choice. Personally, I like Tomb of the Cybermen in black and white, but the great thing about these colorizations is they're not replacing the old ones. You can still go watch the old ones. I like Tomb of the Cybermen being in black and white. It's just part of the iconic imagery for me. But I have seen some colorizations of scenes from it, and they look really good, like when Patrick and when the second Doctor and Victoria are having that conversation about her dad. I've seen that on YouTube when fans have colorized it. It looks really impressive. So I don't know how much trimming Tomb of the Cybermen would need and how much you can do with it, but I'm sure a little bit. But Tomb being kind of the most famous, complete Troughton Cyberman story, or Troughton story even, I think that would be a good one. I think it could look good in color. That's one, if they did a color version of it, I'd definitely buy it, even though I'm not the hugest Tomb of the Cybermen fan. I'd rather get a cut down version of the Invasion, but we can't do that because the Invasion is not complete, unfortunately. I wish it was. I love the Invasion. But if they did Tomb, I would definitely be on board. I would love to see a still look of that. That, I think, would be a good choice. And then also, I suppose they could do Enemy of the World. That would be interesting. Although, I think at some points Troughton might be in brown face. I don't think they want to colorize that and use that, so they might not do. It's weird because in some scenes it looks like he might have some on, and in some scenes it looks like he doesn't. I don't know if they just did that at the beginning in some scenes and got rid of it. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. That I've only watched Underwater Enemy of the World like twice. Not a big fan of that one, even though Troughton's putting in a heck of like 4 great performances, honestly. So I don't know if they would do that one. I'd rather get Tomb anyway. My top 2 would be Tomb and Seeds of Death, and then the Dominators, just because I think the Dominators would look good in color, but there's no way we're getting the Dominators. But there's just not a lot of options with Troughton, since he only has 7 complete stories. And even his ones that are mostly complete, I think you wouldn't be able to overcome a whole episode or 2 being missing to make that work like with Web of Fear. So I want to know what you think. Do you think the Daleks is worth getting on Steelbook or DVD, or is that a rabbit hole you don't want to go down in? What are stories from Hartnell and Troughton you think would make good, edited down, movie-length stories done in color for modern Who fans to try to approach classic Who from? Or do you think they should just suck it up and watch the original stories? Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button, the bell for notifications as well, all that fun stuff. I've got links to my Patreon down there, my P.O. box is down there, my links to my Amazon wish list and my Amazon UK wish list are down there in the description as well. YouTube memberships are available. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins, because I do appreciate their support. As I do the support of all of my patrons, it does make a difference. And yes, I'm in the middle of like moving. I got most of the main stuff. I'm just getting a handful of things left. So soon I'll be recording from the new house I'm staying at. My best friend's mother actually offered me, Suzette, I've known Suzette for about 25 years, offered me a room because she knows how bad the rent prices have inflated lately. You know, apartment's $875 a month in 2017 becomes $1,400 a month now. Yay, Biden economics. But to be fair, I know you in the UK, or y'all who watch from the UK, I know y'all are getting crushed by inflation as well. I guess that's honestly just happening everywhere. So it's not fair for me to point fingers at that one, I guess. But I'm gonna go do that and just rent a room for her, maybe for about a year or so. That'll help me put more money up for down payment on my own house, which is what I've been working on. So I should be filming from there soon. Most importantly, thank you for watching.